Hey guys, Mark here, Warriors for Christ. Welcome back. Folks, today I've got a message that we want to keep our radar up. And what this message is about, folks, is, I'll call it counterfeit signs and wonders. Or lying signs, lying wonders. You know, many of us who are in the Christian community, we love to see the power of God being demonstrated, absolutely, through signs and wonders. But we're living in a time, folks, that in these last days, and the Lord has warned us to pay attention to various things that are going to be happening in the days ahead, so that we're not baited and ensnared or entrapped by these things. And one of the areas that the Lord, puts a warning out is in the area of signs and wonders. Now, I have three, I'm going to drive this home because I have three verses, or should I say three areas in the Bible where God is warning about that. And I know that there may be people who are out there who, like I said, they love signs and wonders, and they want to go out there where they want to see the demonstration of God's power and everything. And folks, like I said, that's not bad in itself. So I'm not here to saying, challenging signs and wonders and all that. No, I want to see signs and wonders demonstrated. But we do not want to be deceived by lying signs and wonders or deceptive signs and wonders and all those types of things. That's what we want to be careful of. So I want to read these things to you, folks, that to keep our heads up and our radar up. We understand that we're in the last days. We understand also that the antichrist figure will be coming onto the scene. We also understand that in these last days, folks, there are many things that the Lord warned us about in Matthew 24, in Luke 21, and in Mark 13. I urge you, if you have not looked at those three chapters on the end times, on signs and things to look for during the time before Christ comes back, those are the three areas you can go ahead and look at. But I want to jump into this real quick. This first one that I'm going to talk about is in Matthew 24. The Lord was warning. And this is part of the things that he's warning about. He said that there are going to be people that are coming back and say, "Oh, Christ is over here. Christ is over here. Christ is over here." And the Lord is warning when these things start happening. We're going to jump down to verse 23. It says this: "Then, if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not." So if any man is going to say, "Oh yeah, Jesus Christ is over here. Jesus Christ is over there. Jesus Christ is, he was seen over there." He said, believe it not. Verse 24. "For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect." Let me say that one more time. "For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders." So, there are going to be false Christs that arise, false prophets, performing great signs and wonders. But the Lord is saying, insomuch that these signs and wonders that they're going to be performing, it says, insomuch, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect, the very children of God, the elect, the children of God. This is how great these signs, how deceptive that these signs and wonders are going to be. So, folks, that's why we have to have our radar up. We have to radar up. I want to jump over now to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. I'm going to go down to starting down at verse 9. And this talks about the coming of the Antichrist, the lawless one. This is what the Lord tells us to look for. One of the things he wants us to pay attention to. The coming of the lawless one, which is the Antichrist. The coming of the lawless one will be in accordance with how Satan works. He will use all sorts of displays of power through signs and wonders that serve the lie. You hear that, folks? You hear that? Let me repeat that one more time. The coming of the lawless one will be in accordance of how Satan works. He will use all sorts of display of power through signs and wonders that serve the lie. And all the ways that wickedness deceives those who are perishing. They perish because they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. Folks, the coming of the lawless one. It's another thing to keep our radar up. Performing, and he says, and shall display. This lawless one will be in accordance to how Satan works. Okay? In accordance to how Satan works. He will use all sorts of displays of power through signs and wonders that serve the lie. So he'll be performing these great signs and wonders that are out there. But it serves the lie. It's a deception. It's a deep deception. This is why the Lord wants us to keep, like I said, not to just go around relying. Anytime that you see somebody doing some kind of, miracle sign or anything like that, folks, we need to walk in, I'll call it walk in wisdom. We should be taking everything back to the Lord. Asking the Holy Spirit. Remember, it says, check the Spirit to see if it's from God. Because not every, everything that you see. And this is why we have to rely. We have to rely on the Spirit of God, who leads us and guides us into all truth. And that we just because we're seeing, signs and wonders being performed. Because as we just read here, they're going to be false Christs, false prophets, performing great signs and wonders. And then the lawless one, or the Antichrist figure himself, through the work of the enemy, will be performing great signs and wonders. It's something else for us to go ahead and pay close attention to. The last example I'm going to give it to you is in Revelation, the book of Revelation. This is Revelation 13. And this is talking about the beast. You got the Antichrist figure, the beast, and then you have the second beast, which the second beast figure is, from what we understand, is the false prophet, who's working in conjunction with the Antichrist. I want to read you this. This is what it says. Then I saw a second beast. The first beast with the Antichrist figure. This is the second beast. Then I saw the second beast coming out of the earth. It had two horns like a lamb, but it spoke like a dragon. It exercised all the authority of the first beast on its behalf. So the second beast, you have the Antichrist figure, and now you have this false prophet figure. It said it exercised all the authority of the first beast on its behalf. On behalf of the first beast, whose fatal wound had been healed. And it performed great signs, even causing fire to come down from heaven to the earth in full view of the people. You hear that, folks? This second beast figure, who I believe is a false prophet, is going to be, it says, and it will perform great signs and causing fire to come down from the heavens to the earth in full view of the people. Because of the signs, it was given power to perform on behalf of the first beast. It deceived the inhabitants of the earth. The inhabitants of the earth were deceived because it was able to do this sign, causing fire to come down from, calling down fire from the heavens and come down. It deceived the people because the people are going to be like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. You know, never seen anything like that before. On behalf of the first beast, it deceived the inhabitants of the earth. It ordered them to set up an image in honor of the beast, who was wounded by the sword and yet lived. The second beast was given power to give breath to the image of the first beast, so that the image could speak and cause all who refuse to worship the image to be killed. Folks, this is why the Lord is warning us right now, telling us way ahead of time. And folks, you can read this for yourself. This is Revelation 13, starting at verse 11, and you can read it down. That second beast figure, as I said, I believe is that second beast is the false prophet who was working in conjunction with the Antichrist. And he's going to be cause fire to come down from the heavens. What does it say here? Yeah. Because of the sign, it was given power to perform on behalf of the first beast. It deceived the inhabitants of the earth. And it performed great signs, even causing fire to come down from heaven to the earth in full view of the people. Major deception, folks. Major deception. And then it says here, and then it says the second beast was given power to give breath to the image. So there's going to be an image of the first beast that's going to be erected, and it gives power, breath to the image of the first beast, so that the image, the actual image of the first beast, could speak and cause all those who refuse to worship the image to be killed. Folks, with AI technology that's going on right now, folks, giving breath to the image, you know, and folks, all these things, there's different types of things, Father God, holograms, making projections that are out there and stuff like that of creating these types of images and things like that. And folks, major deception. So, I'm going to end the message right here, folks. And I'm going to tell you, I urge all of us to go back and read these scriptures that I went and I gave in this video. Signs and wonders, folks, like I said, in and of itself is not a bad thing, because true believers who are operating with the power of God will perform major signs and wonders. But what we also see is that in the kingdom of darkness, false prophets, false Christ, the lawless one, antichrist figure, or the second beast, a false prophet, will also be performing signs and wonders. So we need major discernment. Folks, this message speaks to you. Give it a like, a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Jesus loves us, folks. Loves us and only wants the best for us. But we have to keep these things in front of us so that we don't fall into deception. Share, like, subscribe. Leave a comment. See you next video.